Hello. Welcome to the JAV Show. So this week we're doing solo podcasts. I do a solo podcast this week, and Viv is going to be doing a solo podcast next week. So we've both been super busy. Viv has some events to go to, so we decided let's do double solos. We haven't done one, I think, in more than a year, or maybe just a year. I don't know. I think the last one we've done was in summer of last year where we did a solo podcast. And I think it's kind of nice to do these once in a while. I actually kind of would prefer to do them maybe a bit more often. Only not because I don't enjoy doing podcasts with Viv, but this forces you to do something uncomfortable or different, and I like that a little bit. Like, I don't like it, but it's bothers me. But the fact that I feel like I'm not good at it makes me want to do it a bit more to practice it. So I'm kind of excited. I did very little prep, so we were supposed to come up with a couple questions. I think that was how we created the first couple solo podcasts, is that I would come up with like 1 to 3 questions. Viv will come up with 1 to 3 questions, and we'd both answer the same ones. Viv was quite busy this week, so I took the one question I kind of suggested, and then just now, like 10 minutes ago, I thought of a couple other ones. Just thought it'd be interesting to talk about these ones. So the one question, I think these all kind of tie in except for the last topic I want to talk about. So I'm going to start with the question I asked was like, who were your childhood friends? Like, you don't have to name them, but like, who kind of were they and how did they impact you? I had, let's see, when I was, and when I think of childhood, I think of like as a young kid to like, say maybe like junior high, because around junior high you're kind of like a teenager-ish, like definitely the tweens. Let's see what age we are in junior high. And you are, by the time you're junior high, you're approximately 12 years old. So yeah, definitely tween. But I think things are a bit different there at that point. Like, I feel like as a child, you're much more innocent, naive, less skeptical, less cynicism. So then your childhood friends not necessarily impact you more, but you learn just so much more from them than from other friends later on, because you're kind of raw. You are who you are with very little filter, because you just haven't developed that yet, and they are who they are with very little filter, and then you're developing together. I think by the time you're in junior high, you actually want to impress girls or want to be cool, so you start putting a little bit more of a filter, abiding by more to social norms and things like that. Well, more as a kid, especially in elementary, you just do almost whatever you think of whenever you can, and it's like mistake overload, but also fun overload, and just maximum amount of learning. So that's one of the questions I had. So I kind of had, let's say like 3 close childhood friends throughout the time. I actually don't talk to many or any of them anymore. I feel like just through time, you all go on your separate ways. It's sad. It's sad to say. Actually, most of my friends now I met during junior high, so that is kind of nice to know and think of. Fond memories of that time. But in terms of childhood friends, like elementary stuff, I don't actually talk to any of these 3, and actually some of them I felt like I had a bit more of a falling out a bit earlier. So one of my childhood friend was this one girl that our families were pretty close with, so I hung out with her quite a bit, and we were pretty similar. Like, we like playing video games and doing like cool sciencey shit, like playing with Legos and whatever. But at a pretty young age, I think it was like middle of elementary, and I'm not gonna name names. So like, if you know me since elementary, you might know this person. If you don't, then it is what it is. But her mom actually got cancer and she passed away, and I was really sad about it. But I also thought, like, in my stupid brain, in my head, I was like, my thought process was like, I kept thinking, oh, she's my friend and she's really strong and she can get through this, and I don't have to like pity her because I believe she's a really, really strong person, right? Like that was truly what I thought at the time as a little kid, because I didn't really understand grief at the time. So then I tried to like talk to her and play with her like as if we were just normal friends before the situation, but nothing was ever the same. And I think she as a kid also doesn't understand grief that well too, right? So then she, I felt like, didn't appreciate that I didn't you know, try to like talk to her in a different way to try to like get through, right? Because I like literally in my head, I can still remember back when I was a kid, I literally thought like, this is like one of my best friends and she's so strong, I know she's gonna get over it, and I don't want to like belittle her. Like at the time I thought it was belittling her by like, you know, pitying her and stuff. But then I think through time we just it wasn't like a fight or anything like that, like we just didn't hang out as much, and she hung out with other people and stuff, and I was just like, oh, like thinking back, I was like, oh, maybe I should have been a bit different, but I wouldn't have known this until like probably this age or like a lot older, right? So and how did she impact me? Well, I mean, that's a crazy thing to happen, and I'm very sad that it happened. But I appreciate the friendship. I appreciate, like, she was one of the few female friends that was like I was really close with, and it was really cool because for me it just felt like, oh, she's just like the boys. Like as a kid I was like, yo, she's just like the boys, that's perfectly fine, right? And that was pretty cool. How did she impact me? I think it's like appreciation and understanding too. Like I made the mistake of not understanding her situation, and I felt like I didn't appreciate that as much, and those mistakes have helped me learn a bit more about grief. And like when that happened to my family member, well, like when any of my family members passed away, it helped me go through that process knowing that like, oh shit, like I made the mistake here, I know how I should treat it. Like I can't just treat it like it's nothing. I can't just ignore it and stuff. I just have to really soak it in and move on. So I mean, I definitely learned a lot from that. So that was a pretty big impact for me. My other friend, he I knew him all through elementary. I think like midway or maybe a bit more than, no, midway through elementary, he switched elementary, which was kind of sad. But he was always like super cool, super chilled guy. I don't know about popularity, but we always had a good time hanging out with each other. He was just a fun guy. But then again, our paths kept like, after he moved elementary school, our paths kind of diverged. And then during junior high, I saw him a bit, so it converged a little bit. And then we actually went to the same high school afterwards, and then it converged a bit more. But we were just different people after that. Like in elementary, it was fun. It was cool to hang out with him, you know. We'd always like go to the playground together and do whatever. He was just a really chilled guy to hang out with. Like nothing, he was never serious about anything. Super relaxed, and it kind of like helped me become more relaxed. Like sometimes when I was a kid, I was like a tiny Asian kid, so it was like very easy to like make fun of. But I'm also kind of like my dog Taro. It's like I'm not gonna back down if someone tries to make fun of me. Because at a younger age, like in kindergarten and grade 1 and stuff, I got like, I wouldn't say bullied, but like, you know, get made fun of. Also, my actual name's Alvin, so like Alvin Chipmunks and all that stuff. So everyone kept making fun of me for that. So then after those couple grades, I would like not back down to, you know, push back on that stuff of being made fun of. At that time, that was a little kid ego. It was just dumb. Like I should have just like, you know, laughed it off as whatever. But that was the nice thing with him, because he was so chilled all the time that like if that situation happened near me when I'm hanging out with him, like he's so chilled that I felt that energy, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna brush it off. It's nothing. So that was very cool. And yeah, like I don't really talk to him to this day, but I appreciate his friendship. He's actually a relatively popular person, so like I'm not saying he doesn't remember me or anything like that, but I'm sure that was like a blip in his, you know, total social life. But for me, it was significant enough in my childhood where I was like, oh, this is a super cool guy. I really like him, and we hung out quite a bit. So I did consider him at the time of us being kids, like we were like best friends and stuff. But I haven't talked to him in like probably like 6 or 7 years. Like I just literally haven't seen him, and I don't really talk to people outside of my normal social circle. But yeah, and then from him, like his impact was literally that mentality of being chilled with stuff and not taking things too serious and enjoying life a bit. And I appreciate it because I feel like that's like a very core part of me, without knowing that. Like I didn't know in junior high school, and maybe even part of university. I didn't know I was able to have that less of fucks of things, because I was, caring about certain stuff, whether it be girls, grades, cool shit, whatever, cars, whatever, right? But now that I think back, I was like, holy shit, like me hanging out with him, that was like my natural state. Or not my natural state, like he helped me embrace that state, and it's become my current natural state. I feel like, at least. Like I feel like when I hang out with my group of friends, I would generally be pretty chilled about most things, I want to say. Maybe I'm speaking out of whack here, but and in general, I don't give too many fucks about too many things. Only stuff that are like very close to me I care a lot about. But other than that, I just be like, whatever, it is what it is. And I try to like keep that mentality. And without knowing, I feel like he kind of showed me the Zen way as a kid, which is super cool. And then my last super close childhood friend, yeah, he was actually kind of, I think, relatively popular too. He was like, I swear, he's a savant. He's a fucking genius. But yeah, he also went to engineering. We actually went through the same discipline, but like after elementary, he went to a different junior high. No, actually, we went to the same high school, but we went to a different junior high, and it was hard to say because I felt like in some grades we were like really close or a lot closer, and then in some grades like we just didn't hang out as much. But as a kid, yeah, I would consider him a really close friend. He was a really close friend, and he was so fucking smart. He was really good at piano, and he's like very academically smart, which was very cool because for me it was almost always like a challenge. It's like, oh, can I do as good as him, right? Like the benchmark wasn't 100%. The benchmark was like, oh, him, right? It made me competitive, but not in like too bad of a way back then as a kid. And that was nice because it was like, oh, it kept driving me to like, okay, yeah, like I want to be just as good at these things. And he was pretty popular too, so I was like, oh shit, that's kind of cool too. I kind of attributed to him being good at those things to being popular, and everyone as a kid wanted to be popular, right? So I was like, oh, so I just have to become a smarter kid, right? But I feel like my natural rebellious side would never allow me to like fully embrace that. I always have to like be the fucking class clown, so it just never jived for me to become that. But yeah, he was super smart. And actually, yeah, so to this day he is also a mechanical engineer, and I think he's doing really well for himself. I feel like I still use him as a benchmark. I was like, oh shit, I want to do as good as him. But as much as I say that, obviously through life he's probably gone through some shit that I don't know about that was probably very difficult, that you know how like whenever you think, oh, I wish I had that person's life, but then when they actually start telling you the shit they've had to go through to get to where they are, then you're like, all right, it's fair game. You got to where you are for the sacrifices you've given, so therefore, all right, like maybe I don't want that life, or maybe if I do have that life, I need, like, my mentality would have been different by now if I went through the same hardships and stuff, right? But yeah, no, I still think he's super cool, super successful, and to me, I think he's still, like, career-wise, still a benchmark, because I feel like he always has a really cool position, or just something that's very envious. And I kind of want it. I always try to use it in like a very good, positive way. Sometimes it was tough, like, because he also went to the same, like, we were in the same graduating year in university, and he's the type of smart where it's like fucking like 4.0 is a minimum. Like, he gets at least A's, if not A pluses, in almost every course. I did pretty well in university, relatively speaking. Like I did, like not bragging, but I was around like the 3.7, 3.8 range. But I was like, holy shit, how do you get to that next level? Like I already feel like I'm trying and I'm, doing my best. And that's like another whole level. And I think he also did some like extracurricular stuff and he did like running and all that stuff. And I was like, damn, dude, this guy's like on top of his stuff. And it was cool. It was cool because sometimes that garners motivation in you. Like very few times it garnered too much envy in me. It was mostly motivation, which was really nice. And yeah, I don't know, like how did he impact me? I feel like he's a one of a kind. So how he impacted me is I just think like, damn, if I could be friends with someone of one of a kind, why can't I be one of a kind? Or why can't you be one of a kind? Or why can't everyone be one of a kind? We just have to be one of a kind in our own ways. So I feel like that's cool. Like he's probably the first like genius savant person I ever met. And because of that, I felt like, oh, like yes, he had some God-given talent, but that only gets him so far. So the rest of it, I feel like anyone else can emulate, right? So I don't know. For me, in my head, it just made me like say, like, all right, try harder, right? So it was kind of cool. I like that a lot. I don't really have too many like. Sometimes when you're down and you're a kid, or even as a teenager, or sometimes even as a young adult, you take when you're in that negative mood, you take that envy into like a really dark place. But I feel like 9 out of 10 times that wouldn't happen. So I'm pretty fortunate for that. And having him in my life at an early age kind of like set the standard for me of how to be a good Asian. So therefore, I'm not a good Asian, but I know how or what it takes to become a good Asian. And he's the template with it. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, those were my childhood friends and how they impacted me. I think after those like three really good friends, like starting in junior high, I just met the friends I know now. And like the friends I know now, yeah, I could say a billion things of how they impact me, but they're still impacting me. So it's kind of hard to say it, right? Like they're still in my life and I'm still pretty close to a lot of them from junior high, and even some from high school. So, I mean, one day maybe if freaking 60-year-old Jorge, I'll have a podcast and I'll talk about that too. But by then you can probably just grab my brain matter or brain memories from my brain, just download it and you can just watch it all yourself, probably. Something like that. I don't know. But yeah, that was the number one the first topic we want to talk about. The second topic I want to talk about, I kind of want to sandwich this in here so it's not that easy to find. Is I want myself and Viv to say something nice about everyone in your direct family. So not like brother-in-law, aunts, uncles, cousins. Like I know they're all important to all of us. Like we all have different family situations, but let's say like just your direct family. Do not make this like a 2-hour podcast, right? And I feel like it's cool because it's like it forces you to say something nice no matter what. And then one day in the future, maybe we'll dig this up and then they can listen to it. Or maybe like knock on wood, if anything, during my obituary or something like that, they could bring up this stuff that I said about them and they can be happy about it. I have no idea, but I just think it's cool. I got this idea from Theo Vaughn's podcast because he always says like on his podcast to a lot of his guests before he ends it, he's like, oh, can you like say something nice about your kids or like your wife or husband or something like that, just so one day they can listen to it and they can hear it. I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea. Like I'm sure on this podcast we both Viv and I and even some of our guests have probably done it not knowingly, but this is like a direct question, which is cool. So for me, let's start. So my mom, let's see. Actually, I'll start with my dad. I think my mom's yeah. I'll start with my dad. My dad is like a unmovable rock. Not like he is stubborn. Don't get me wrong. He's a stubborn guy. But when I mean rock, as in like he is so reliable, so consistent, always there to help. He is literally like all our family, like everyone's rock. Like it feels like as a kid and even up to now as an adult, he he could have a bad day, but he won't show it. You know what I mean? Like, he would just be him and always him, and he's super reliable. So it's like anytime you ask for any type of help about almost anything, he has an answer for it, or he has an idea for it, and then that's where everything spawns from, right? Is an answer and an idea, right? He helps anyone and everyone. Like, that's a crazy generosity. And yeah, he, like, the biggest thing is just the super reliability. Like, we always knew we could, like, rely on dad on whatever it is, and I think that's really cool. Like, that's for me definitely role model material. Like, that's what I want to be, and that's what I've always strived to be. I want to be, like, super reliable. Like, I know I don't I'm not too social nowadays, but I always hope that if anyone asks for my help, I would always say yes, and I will always have an answer that they didn't know I'd have. For example, it's like if someone's like, "Oh, can you help me with, this landscaping thing?" Right? And I'd be like, "Yes, like, I have a wheelbarrow, I have a shovel, I can do whatever you want. I've figured this out. I can watch 100 videos and I can help you do with whatever you want. I just want to help you, right?" And I'll get an answer for you. I might not be the best at it, but I'll get something for you, right? That's what I've always strived to be. I don't know if people know that, but I've always strived to be like the super reliable, consistent person. So it's like, you need help, I'm reliably there to help you, even though I never answer my fucking phone. That's a different story. But if you truly need help, and we've discussed about this, it's like, hey, I need help building a deck, I'm there. Or, hey, I need help, painting this thing, I'm there. Or, hey, I need help with, like, cooking this thing. All right, I'm there, right? Doesn't mean I know how to do everything, but I just wanted to reliably be there for my friends and family. Within reason, right? Like, what I mean within reason is, like, sometimes I'll bitch about it, which isn't of character of, like, my dad, but, like, my mom would, like, forget something. We're in the south side, I have to drive all the way back north and then grab it for her and go all the way south side or something like that. And then the whole time going there and back, I'll be bitching the whole fucking time. But at least I'll do it. Like, I might not like it, which is not good, like, because at least I should just, like, show no emotion if I don't like it. But I might show negative emotion. But I do strive to become that. And I like, one day, if I do get kids, like, I want to be that type of father. It's like, Mr. Reliable. I don't plan or try to impress any of my future kids, or if I could have any, or even my niece's nephew with any specific thing. I just want to be, super reliable. I want to be that uncle where it's like, oh, you ask a question, I have some answer, maybe the right answer, hopefully the right answer every time, right? So that's my dad. My mom, this is a hard one. It's not that my mom is not a good person, guys. It's just like, I want to find the right things to say about my mom. Because I feel like many Asian mothers, they annoy the fuck out of you sometimes. And if you don't believe me, my mom has like 7 sisters, and every one of my cousins are like, dude, our mothers are so fucking annoying. But anyways, outside of that, I think my mom has a crazy amount of faith. Not like religious faith, but like not really, actually, maybe that's not the right word. It's not specifically like faith in anything. It's just that she's always willing to sacrifice. Like, she's always willing to sacrifice anything and everything for her family. And it's like faith that what she's doing is right, and she doesn't care. She's like even if, and sometimes it actually like backfires on her when she like spoils her sisters too much, but she still always want to be there and help them and sacrifice whatever she can. Like anytime anything happened to any of my grandparents when we were younger, like, she would always be the one who would stay with them the whole night, work the next morning, and then go to them in the afternoon and then stay with them for the next night. Like, it might sound bad, but like all my other aunts and uncles wouldn't be like that. Like, it was literally her. Like, she would always help them to the fullest. And she always said, like, you shouldn't bother, like, she always told us as kids, like, it shouldn't bother you guys that my sisters aren't doing as much. I'm doing what I can. And when they move on, like my grandparents, then at least I have that. Like I have the fact that I said that I did the best I can and all I can, and not like, oh, I wish I was with them more, or I wish I helped them at that time more, right? And that actually impacted me quite a bit, because like when my grandpa was going through cancer and stuff, I was like, that's the same mentality I had to force myself to take. Like it wasn't like, oh, why can't my brother bring my grandpa to the appointment, or why can't my sister do this? It was just like, all right, what time does he need to be there, and I'll be there, right? It was a weird state, because like between like near end of high school and like second year of university, he was like in and out of the hospital a lot, right? And at the same time, I just got my car, or like I got my car a year before that, and then my mom was just like, I literally have work. Like we need someone to bring them, and then to me and to my siblings, it felt like her sacrifice and generosity had to carry on. Like we had to help him, because it was like that's what my mom would have done. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's called faith. That's I don't know what the terminology would be like that for. Like definitely sacrifice is one thing, but sacrifice is like, yeah, I guess you could say sacrifice is a good trait, but it's kind of weird. But it's almost like, I don't know, like a family moral compass. I don't know. She had like a unyielding family moral compass or something like that. Like she still tried to help other people too, right? But the fact that she didn't care, and this isn't right. Don't get me wrong. Some of this isn't right. Like she didn't care, as long as it was her blood, she would help them as much as I can. And sometimes, like I said, it backfired on her, where she spoiled her siblings too much, and then they were spoiled and it sucked, right? But I don't know. That's very, very nice to think of, and I do think of that in the same way of like my siblings sometimes too, where it's like sometimes I don't want to do something for them, but then I have to think about my mom and be like, all right, this is what she would want. Like so is my dad. Like my dad would want the same thing too. Like he's like similarly, not just her. So then I have to like take that mentality. It's like, all right, I get it. Asian people in general value blood so much, so it's like, all right, these people are of my blood, so I must help them. Yeah. And like that's been kind of instilled down to like me and my siblings, especially because me and my both my siblings now, we're like, so my mom has had 7 sisters and 1 brother. So we have a bunch of cousins, but my next oldest cousin on my mom's side is like 5.5, 6 years younger than me, right? So it was literally my brother, who's like, I honestly forget his age, like 6 or 7 years older than me. Then my sister, like 3 or 4 years older than me, and then me, and then my next cousin is like 6 years younger than me, right? So then, like anytime anyone in the family needed help, yeah, it goes to my parents, but sometimes it comes down to us, right? Like help with like English related stuff, applying for something and stuff. And my mom was pretty good at like technical English, so like she could help them, but sometimes it had to pass down to us. So we were instilled with that necessity, right? But yeah, so for my mom, it's, I don't know, like, you know what? Here's a good word. How much she loved her family, I think, is what she's taught me. And a nice thing to say about her is that her love for her family, like her siblings and parents and everyone, and us, is like so strong and very admirable. Very admirable. The next one is my brother. All right, I'll tell you guys. Me and my brother, we did not get along as kids, even as teenagers, and maybe even as young adults. I do admit sometimes I have some problems that was my fault, and some problems that's his fault. But that's kind of like water under the bridge type of thing. I think the nice thing I can say about him for sure is that he is a very righteous person. Like he will always do the very right or just thing, no matter what. So like he wouldn't purposefully cheat or lie or anything like that. He's just, in my opinion, just a very righteous person. Like sometimes he's greedy and sometimes he does stuff that is wrong, in my opinion. But in terms of like stuff that is related to like justice or righteousness, he's always on the right side of things, if that makes sense. Like if it's like I'm trying to think of some examples, but pretty much the biggest thing is like he wouldn't like purposely lie to anyone. He wouldn't purposely like you know how sometimes you like he would never try to like steal anything, or he would never like think about like any like crazy hacks or anything like that. Like sorry, not hacks. Like okay, like he loves like, you know, like shopping hacks and all that shit like that, but he wouldn't do anything that's like borderline immoral or anything like that. Like I would like think about it, right? I would stop and pause and think about some of that shit, right? Like exploiting the system a bit more. But I feel like he doesn't, I don't know, like he's just super righteous. Like I know that sometimes he does things that I don't think is right, but in those situations, it's not like a right or wrong thing. It's more of a preference thing, right? But if there's like a righteous thing to do, I think he'll always pick the right path. And I think he's, yeah, very like ethically and morally sound, which is good. Like I think it's something to look up to. Like I wouldn't do it like all the time. Like if I saw, you know, $20 on the ground in a building and shit, I would just swipe that stuff. I mean, I'm not saying like he would probably honestly just give it back to whatever the desk is or some shit like that. But for me, I don't know, sometimes it's questionable. Sometimes I feel like I like standing or walking the line of, you know, legal, illegal, kind of, not really illegal, but it's like, you know, righteous, not righteous shit, right? So I feel like I wouldn't say like my like straight up ethics are compromised, but you know, sometimes I'm like, you know, the shortcut's smart and it's good and I think it's useful and I want to like use it and stuff. It might not be the right thing to do. But I wouldn't say I do that every time. I would just think about it. I'm like, good. I'd have to do a cost benefit analysis. For my sister, so if you guys don't know, I'm actually pretty close with my sister since a pretty young age. Why? I don't know. She was just more cool, chilled, I guess, with me. Like my brother as a kid was a bit more bossy. My sister was more chilled. So I hung with her more, and we're pretty close. Something good to say about my sister. Let me think. I could say something lame, like she's very kind. Maybe not to me sometimes, which is okay. Like, but like to everyone else, she's always very kind. And yeah, she's like super respectful. Sometimes too much, in my opinion. Like sometimes she's not willing to bend the Asian traditional rules. But yeah, I think she's super nice and kind, and I'm trying to find a better adjective because that's such like a generic shit that people just use, like, oh, that person's nice. Well, it's not just that. Like she kind of like does what my dad does, as in like she'll always help everyone and anyone to like the fullest degree that she can. And sometimes it's bit her in the ass too, where she's been too nice. I feel like some Asian girls have that drilled down into them to always, you know, respect your elders, help other people, and shit like that. And then sometimes they become people who have a hard time saying no. I think she's already worked through that, but she's super kind to a lot of people. And she's like very selfless. Like she's always willing to buy you something you didn't even know you wanted, right? Or like if we go somewhere, she'll like, you know, bring some food or snack. Or if I come over her house, she'll always like make me dinner and stuff like that, even though like I didn't tell her in advance and stuff. She'll just like cook something up real quick for me. And it just creates like a very easy way of like being kind back. Like, you know what I mean? It's like if you're kind to other people, it makes it easier for them to be kind back to you. Like if you're being an asshole to someone, it's so hard for them to be kind back to you because it's like you don't deserve this and shit, right? So like I feel like her personality and how she is just makes her a very likable person and makes her very, very easy to be like, because she's so kind to people. Like other people, like I'm not saying she wasn't kind to me, but like as siblings we always like fuck with each other all the time and stuff. But to other people, she's like super, super nice. And I don't think she's being fake at all. It's just like literally, I've known her literally my whole life, right? So it's like we have a different bond, right? but yeah, she's a very likable person, and she has a really good personality, and I think that's really good. It's very beneficial. Like I always think sometimes of cost benefit analysis with a dollar value, but I feel like what she brings to the table cannot be put with a dollar value because she sacrifices a lot for other people, and a lot of people do that for her too. And I feel like that's because of how kind she is. Like some of the stuff she sacrificed and helps with her friends and friends, family, whoever else. I just wouldn't be able to give enough fucks to do it. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go and bring this box of sweets to this person that I only see like twice a year. But she would like without a problem find it in her schedule and like figure that out, right? So I think that's super cool. It's like I kind of envy that a little bit. Like I wish I was a bit nicer to more people, but yeah, sometimes I'm just in my head too much, and I just like just not thinking. Like I feel like sometimes for her it seems so effortless to do that. For me, it feels like I have to actively think about that sometimes, which just means I'm probably just the asshole, but that's okay. I'm also the youngest child, so I am probably most likely spoiled, and I will admit to that. But yeah, no, I think she's a super kind person, and I don't know if there's a better word to describe that, so I'll just leave it as that. But yeah, that's kind of one nice thing I say about each of my family members. This might be buried in the ethers of the internet one day, so maybe no one's ever gonna see this later, but it's out there in the world now. All right. So 2 other topics I was gonna talk about. I'm not sure if I'll go through both. But yeah, let's try to go through both. So first one is top cartoons as a kid. I want to talk about this one because I feel like I had ones that maybe when I was a kid it was a little bit embarrassing, but now I'm like, fuck it, I'll just embrace it because that's what I liked as a kid, and I thought that was like super cool. So when I was a super young kid, apparently I don't actually remember this, but my siblings always like bothered me about it. But apparently, I really liked Barney, and maybe I got so traumatized from them making fun of me that I like Barney that I just like blocked that out because I literally do not remember a single full episode of Barney. But after that, as a kid, the next thing I liked was Blue's Clues, and they also made fun of me for that, but that I was kind of okay with. I was like, oh, Blue's Clues is so cool. It's like such a cute dog, and you got the salt and pepper shaker, and then you got so I also did not know this, by the way. I didn't know Blue's Clues, like Blue the dog, was a girl dog. I always thought it was a boy dog, and I thought the pink dog was a girl dog. It kind of like confused the shit out of me for the longest time. But they kept making fun of me, saying, "Oh, you like girl dogs and whatever like that, right?" And I was just like, "What? Blue's a boy dog. It's Blue, and then there's a pink dog, and that's the girl." That's what I was thinking when I was a kid. But yeah, they always made fun of me for that. But I always enjoyed the show. They have those like 2D, graphics of stuff, and that was kind of cool. Like they have the 3D guy, the guy in the green shirt. I forget his name because yeah, I honestly forgot his name. I just thought like, yo, Blue's such a cool dog, doing whatever, right? But yeah, they made fun of me for that, but I was okay with that one because I was like, Blue's super cool. And then another one I liked as a kid. They didn't actually make fun of me about this too much, but I really liked the show. It was like the Rescue Heroes, and that's because they always had these like cool fucking robotic like suits and like crazy vehicles and shit. I was like, dude, this is the coolest shit in the world. I really like that show and like all the cool stuff they show and the like. Pretty much, it was just like a kid version of Transformers, which made it really, really cool. Right. I have fond memories of that. I would definitely think that would be something I would definitely want to show the younger generation. I was like, yo, look how cool this show is. I actually don't know if they're still running, so maybe they do. So is Blue's Clues. I heard that there's a different person they use now, not the guy that got cancer, but yeah. Actually, the other thing I was going to bring up too is like, I know kids now, they watch Bluey. I know this because I have a niece and she watches all the time. I have like 2 nieces. They love Bluey. Bluey and Bingo and, the whole group of people. That one also confused the shit out of me, guys. Did you guys know Bluey is a girl and Bingo's also a girl? See, that also doesn't make sense. It goes back to the whole Blue's Clues thing. So like Blue's Clues, Blue was a blue dog and there was a pink dog. So I was like, oh, okay, that's the boy dog and the girl. Like I just naturally thought like, you know, they can't show anything else to show girl and boy other than color, because everything else is like kind of inappropriate. So I was like, yeah, blue and pink. So then in Bluey's a blue dog, and Bluey's little sister is an orange dog, and the mom dog is orange, and the dad dog was blue. So I always thought Bluey was a boy because the dad dog's blue and the mom dog was orange. But apparently Bluey's also a girl. And I was like, dude, this doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever, the kids like it. I guess it's a whole Blue's Clues thing again. Like it feels like they almost just like took the whole same confusing idea of Blue being a girl and then turned that into a new generation show from Blue's Clues. Let's just say that I imagine Blue's Clues was the grandfather of Bluey, but probably not true. And after that, it was just the usual, right? Like I think after that, it like becomes more mainstream of what every other kid liked. Like Beasties. What else was there? X-Men Evolution, like the cartoon, that was freaking sick. Teen Titans, that was really cool. But that was like getting more into like my teenager years that I started watching that. So I guess as a kid, those were the main ones. There was like Powerpuff Girls, that was pretty cool too. Powerpuff Girls was kind of confusing though as a kid because like some of the characters were really confusing. There was that like she-devil character that was like kind of acted like, or sometimes had like guy traits, sometimes girl traits. It was very confusing. I was like, well, what the heck is this character? And then the whole like backstory about like Mojo Jojo and being like a child to Professor X and becoming that storyline as a child was like kind of confusing. Obviously when I watched it when I was a teenager, I was like, okay, this all makes sense now. But as a kid, I was like, what's going on here? Like it went through some layers, some deeper layers that I felt like I didn't understand. But I thought it was a cool show too. It was just fun. It was a fun show. All right, cool. We're blown by topics. This last topic, hopefully it won't take too long because I do want to end this at about an hour. I thought, you know what's the easiest thing for both Viv and I to talk about? And I think for not just Viv and I, but universally true for everyone, the easiest thing to talk about is probably your hobbies. So I want to kind of go into not like a deep dive of my hobbies, but like, you know, what's your hobbies? Why do you like it? And then like, what state are you at now? What do you want to see yourself in the future, kind of thing? So I'm gonna start with some of the sports. So volleyball. Why do I like it? So I used to play a lot of badminton, and I really liked badminton not because of the physical aspect, because I felt like I wasn't that like strong or fast or anything like that, but it was like the strategy aspect that was the best. So strategy was, especially when you play doubles, is like you're almost like recording all the moves of the three other people all the time, and then you use that to do your next move because you want to at some point be able to predict what they're going to do, and then sometimes they're going to predict what you think they're going to predict, and then it just becomes a whole like mental game, but that strategy aspect gets really fun. And then in volleyball it's actually very similar, except a bit more complicated and a bit less up to you. So like in badminton, singles is completely up to you. Doubles, it's like, you know, half the games or like half of your side's game is up to you, right? At least half. So, sometimes it's more depending on who you play with, or sometimes it's less, right? So if you play with someone that's really good, then you get less of the decision making, and then if you play with someone that's not as good, you have to force the decision making to try to get you guys to win, right? And then volleyball, I think the biggest thing is that you don't have as much of the chance. Like sometimes we lose points and I just didn't like, there's nothing I could have done to change the fact that, you know, this person dropped that ball, right? So it's just like, okay, I have less ability to affect the game, but then the strategy aspect is still there, which I quite enjoy. I still enjoy that part. I don't play as much as a lot of other people. One, because I feel like I feel like I'm not that great, and it also hurts my knees quite a bit. It used to, at least. Now I have like zero pain when I play it, and I feel like I'm in a really good state right now, where it's like every time I go and play, I enjoy it to like a really high degree, and then I also don't regret it the next day. Like the next day, I'm feeling fine. I'm not like super sore and hurting or anything like that. And I feel like that kind of knowing that fact makes the enjoyment even better. Like if I did something that was super fun, but the next day I felt like I have like a broken back after, then I'd be like very hesitant to go that hard the next time, right? But I feel like the current amount of play, so I only play once a week right now. I could maybe play twice a week, but I have other things I want to do. So I'm pretty happy and content with where I'm at right now. And I know like playing once a week, I won't get better, or like I might just stay status quo as I am. But I feel like I've gotten less competitive as I've gotten older, and I'm just happy with where it's at. So I have no issues. Like even in our leagues now, you see the young teams with the 18, 20-year-olds. I was like, fuck it, man. Like they can take over. I don't care anymore. I just want to, enjoy what I can and just have fun. I'm not saying like I'm like debilitatingly old, and there's a lot of people my age like plays way better than me, and good for them. But for me, with the amount of shit I do and the other hobbies I have, I'm at a pretty good spot for it. My next hobby is climbing. I boulder with some of my friends, and that's really fun. It's a lot of like problem solving and physical challenges. I feel like for the last year or so, it's been tough because I keep getting injured. But I also feel like that's a little bit of excuse. Like I have to keep pushing and just trying hard things and just get better. But I'm also more lenient on myself. I feel like at a younger age, I would like try to push myself harder and I'll just get hurt. But now I'm more like okay to take the break and okay to learn and just try hard and just be okay to suck at it. I feel like I'm not that good at it either, but it's nice. I think my goals for this is, I don't know, like I think my goal last year was probably the same as this year. It's just like be more consistent at doing like V5s and stuff like that. And I feel like right now I'm like for certain climbs, I feel like I'm pretty strong right now. And certain climbs I'm not, and whatever. And I feel like I'm not as committed as maybe some of my other friends and other people. And again, it goes back to like the whole volleyball thing. Like I'm kind of okay. Like I enjoy it. I know every time, my goal every time is two things: don't get hurt and like stress your joints. Like as in like, keep working your finger. Like finger strength isn't like bench press. Like if I did bench press every day for like a month, 2 months, I could get some substantial gains, right? But like fingers are different. Like they need time to rest. They need more time to rest. They need more circulation, and it's just repetition. And don't hurt yourself is the key thing. Like don't go overboard, right? So yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't care to do I always want to get stronger. So like it's just purely, hey, I want to get stronger. I might not be able to do some of the climbs because some climbs aren't strength based. It's really just like flexibility sometimes, coordination sometimes, and then just body position sometimes, right? So like I'm not sad that I can't do this specific climb. I just want to get all around stronger, like not necessarily be the best climber, but I just want to be stronger climber, right? And or just stronger in general. So yeah, that's my goal for the next little while for that. Just be more consistent and get to that state. Like every time, how when you work out and you feel like your muscles stressed, but it's not cramping, then it feels like good. Like I went to very, very, very close to the limit. Like the only way to know you went over the limit is if you hurt yourself, right? So like I got very close to the limit, and this is gonna maximize my growth and healing from this, right? So that's me with climbing. I also go to the gym like 3 times a week now. I used to go a bit more, but now with volleyball, climbing, and some other stuff I want to do, I just split it to that. So like 3 times a week that, and then 3 times a week doing volleyball and climbing, and then 1 rest day. And yeah, like I mean, I feel like when I started going to the gym back in high school, it was just so I wouldn't be a fat shit, because I used to be like a fat kid. And then now it's more like I want to gain as much muscle as I can, but still be functional, if that makes sense. So like if I wanted to, I could probably try to bulk and gain like 20, 30, 40 pounds, but then my knees will suffer when I play volleyball, and I probably can't climb that well because I have so much more weight to carry. So it's like I want to be functionally strong, and I feel like working out gives me like a base level of muscle, and then climbing and volleyball are like coordination function activities that will train my muscles to do what it needs to do, because a lot of the actions in climbing is very relevant to real life, as in like pulling things, grabbing things, gripping things. That's very, very like gripping things is a very relevant skill. And then volleyball is like jumping, hitting things, hand-eye coordination, right? So that's kind of what it is for me for working out. What I want in the future is I just lift heavier, I guess, like more power, not even just like I know you can go to like the hypertrophy row and get like bigger muscles and all that stuff. I literally just want power. So like I do really low reps, a lot of sets. And I don't do that many workouts. As in, like I don't do many different things. I just stick to some core full body stuff like front squats, bench, overhead press, things like that. So yeah, and that's like for me the reason why I want to gain as much muscle as possible is I know at an older age it's one, hard to gain muscle, and two, you literally start atrophying muscles. And I feel like it's kind of inevitable. Like other than juicing up, like very few 60-year-olds you can say had more muscle mass than their 40-year-old self, right? It's just like natural with age that you atrophy a bit more and it's harder to gain that muscle back. So I personally feel like if you have a very high amount to start off with, then when you get older, then it'll just take longer to atrophy because you have just so much more to work with. And that's my whole like longevity goal, to like live forever kind of thing. My next two other hobbies, let's say, is right now I got into fixing cars, like my own car and stuff. It's not even like modding cars. It's literally just I wanted to learn more about fixing cars, and the reason I wanted to do that specifically was it was always something that I used to always have to like go to a shop and do something that was a bit bigger. Like for example, I could do my own oil change and filter changes and all the easy maintenance tasks back in the day, right? And I always had to do like the bigger tasks. I always had to bring in the shop, and I always felt like it wasn't just like a money thing. It was more like what differentiates me in the shop is literally that knowledge, and like why can't I also learn that, right? So I kind of like challenged myself. It's like, hey, let's do that. Like let's learn stuff. Let's change these parts, get into more difficult things. And I understand back then I only had one car and that was like my daily driver. So I can't take apart this part, and if I fuck up, I can't go to work next day, which is like very stressful. But now that I bought like a project car, then I'd be like, okay, if I fuck up, I could leave it sitting for like 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks and just slowly fix it day after day, week after week. And it's less stressful, right? And then the more I can fix, the more easier it is. Like it's not infinite, but it's like a very high number, X, that it gets easier the next time. Like the first time I take apart this thing, it might take me like 3-4 hours, and the next time it could literally take me 20 minutes because I know the exact steps it takes, right? So that's like already a like 9x, right? So I think that was kind of one reason. A little bit was ego. Is like, hey, I want to be able to do what these guys can do. But the other reason is also I don't want to like rely on other people for something that I should be trying to maintain and like upkeep myself. I know not everyone has that mentality, and it's okay. Like I know some people might, like I know a lot of mechanical engineers that don't work on their car, and that's perfectly fine. Like they will work on other stuff at work, and when they get off work, they don't want to deal with this shit. Which I'm not opposed to. Like it is really time consuming. It's sometimes very stressful. Like right now I'm in a very stressed state because I don't know what the fuck is wrong with my car. Like I have an electrical issue, so I'm like literally like ripping out half my car just to figure out where this thing is coming from. So I get it. I just had that, again, goes back to like my ego. Like I just had the like, I want to do it myself, or I want to know how to do it myself, right? So I gave myself the challenge. So starting in this year, 2025, I bought a project car and I've been working on it. And yeah, there's highs and lows, right? Like when you actually fix or change your part, you're like, holy shit, that's so cool. Like it literally feels like if this ever happened to any car, not just my car, like any car that's even remotely similar, which most cars are pretty similar in general. Like I know like some are much more different. Like a semi truck's a lot different than a normal car, but like most sedans, 4-cylinder sedans, most of them are relatively similar. But even if they're not, the concepts are all very, very, very similar, if not almost the exact same, right? So it's kind of cool. It's like, okay, I've changed this now. I can do this not only on my own car now, but every future car that I ever buy, other than when everything turns electric, is going to have this similar component. And even when things turn electric, I feel like I've dabbled a lot into like electrical wiring diagrams to figure out stuff about my car, where it'll be difficult, but I have a path to figure it out. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of like I built this own tool belt for myself. And I'm just, every time I go through this struggle of the lows, I'm putting another tool in my tool belt to learn about this stuff. But yeah, like right now it's a pretty low point for me. I'm pretty like depressed. Because it's very overwhelming when you like when I know what the problem is and it's just hard to do. That's different from like I don't even know what's wrong with, or I don't know exactly what the problem is with my car, and my only solution right now is to like rip everything apart and put everything back together, and hopefully as the process of ripping apart I'll find where the issue is. But that's very difficult, and it's very demoralizing because you're like, at a point I thought I knew some shit, and then you just get smacked down again, and then you're like, okay, I need like a half day to reset because I feel overwhelmed because I can't do shit. But then you figure it out and you go step by step, and then I don't know, I feel like that's the process of learning hard shit, is just to go through this very depressing state. And honestly a lot of it's on your own. Like yeah, I'll ask, I'm not against asking for help. It's just like sometimes, you know, no one's gonna come help. You're gonna have to dig yourself out of the hole and figure it out. So that's where I'm at right now. But yeah, in the future, I hope I can get this car back together and then do some more cool shit with it. And then maybe after a while, it might just be like onto the next car project or something like that, right? But I haven't thought of the onto the next yet. I just want to focus on getting this one in a good state, and then maybe meet some more people in the car community, and then maybe I'd be able to like trade my car or something, get another car, and then go through the same state again. And then my last hobby, this one's kind of on the back burner lately, is just 3D printing. I used to like, I feel like I always have stages of it. So like at times I'll have a really cool idea, or I think it's a really cool idea, and then I'll like print for like 1 or 2 weeks straight, like one prototype every 2 days or one prototype every day for like 1 or 2 weeks straight. Go through a bunch of design process, do a bunch of random printing, and then I'll figure something out and it'll be cool, or I won't figure it out, or I'll figure that, oh, this is why this thing that I'm trying to design or build, this is why other people sell it, and this is why they sell it for this much, is because, you know, it's not that simple or something like that. But it's cool. I still learned something about 3D modeling and CAD design, and then a little bit about 3D printing itself and the techniques to it and why I failed pretty much. But yeah, it's a very on again, off again type of thing, because like, for example, right now, I don't really have a need for it because I'm working on my car so much. I'm doing some other things. But I can tell, like, once I think of another prototype of something I want to design, or if someone gives me an idea, I'll get back into it real quick and start printing some more stuff. So yeah, I thought this would be a super easy topic to talk about for both me and Viv. So I was like, yeah, let's just talk about our hobbies for the last little bit in our solo podcast. And it's going to range, right? Like, I want to hit the 1 hour mark, so I'm pretty close to there. So I only need like 10-ish minutes to talk about my hobbies. But yeah, I thought, you know, sharing some of the stuff I'm doing, maybe also getting the word out there that, hey guys, I'm fucking struggling with my car. I need some help, guys. If anyone wants to, you know, swing by and give me some either words of encouragement or help me out with some shit I don't know, I would be very grateful for that. It's very humbling being defeated by a machine of knowledge. I am very defeated right now, but I will have to figure it out. But yeah, I can't say it's all fun all the time, because then I feel like that would be wrong. I feel like I'd just be lying if I said it's always fun. And I feel like if anyone says their hobby's always fun, I think they're a fucking liar, because there's been times of volleyball I want to rip my hair out because, you know, dumb plays of myself or my team or something like that. You know, there's been times at the gym where I'm just like, I hurt myself and I get so frustrated myself and all that. So I say you need the lows so you can have the highs. I'm going through a pretty low in the car hobby right now, but hey, if I don't ever have this, then I may never be able to feel the highs, right? So I want people to also know, like, if you're in that same struggle, I feel you, brother. I feel you. It's a rough one with whatever hobby. Like, I feel like I've had these same struggles with a lot of the hobbies I do. And some of them defeat me to the point where I'm like, I'm never doing this again. And some of them I can overcome and I just become better, right? Some of the ones that's defeated me, I tried playing, I forgot what it was called. I think it was let me see. I want to say it's a cajon. Yeah, it's a cajon. The reason I was hesitant to say cajon is I'm also trying to learn Spanish right now. And I know like caja means box, but cajon, it's like a drum instrument that you sit on that's like literally a box, right? So I was like, wait, is that where the word came from? But yeah, I tried learning that for a bit through COVID, and it wasn't a disaster. I felt like I actually learned a little bit about rhythm and stuff, but I just couldn't get into it long term. Another one that's defeated me before is like learning French. I always thought French was a really cool language. My girlfriend's actually fluent in French, which is cool. So I always thought it'd be cool to learn. But I got really defeated by French. The grammar is so fucking hard. So that is one I've got defeated. But I might try to pick that up in the new year or something like that, because I'm learning Spanish right now, and I think maybe in a year or two, I would say I would have a bit better than beginners level Spanish. And it's not like I want to just jump right away to French. I actually don't. But I thought in the future, because me and Joyce, we really like learn. Well, I like, at least I know for sure she does. So we really like learning languages, and I thought it'd be cool if in the future, like, she tried to learn Chinese and I tried to learn French again. And that's literally just for fun. It's not like we're not trying to impress anyone. It's just kind of cool. It's almost like if we were to be able to do that, we would know English, Spanish, Chinese, French, and I think those are literally like the top like of the 10. Those 5 are for sure in the top 10 of languages, and that'd be so cool, because that also means like we could probably travel almost anywhere in the world and have some language that they probably understand to some degree. It's like in Korea, the weird thing is they know a lot of Chinese there, I think, to cope with the Chinese tourism and stuff. So yeah, knowing Chinese would be good for that. And then all of Europe, if you have English, French, and Spanish, I feel like all of Europe is accessible to you at that point. The only parts that would still be difficult might be Middle East, but I think a lot of people there know English now at this point. So I'm not sure how bad that accessibility is. And then I guess Africa, you might have some regions, but I feel like a lot of Africa was colonized by either the English, the French, or the Spanish at some point. So I feel like there's still remnants of those languages in any one place there, maybe except for some colonies that were influenced more by the Dutch. But yeah, that'd be so cool, because all of South Africa, if we knew French or Spanish, that'd be kind of cool. Like, I know Portuguese is different, but I think some of it is still like you can still pick up something and, you know, kind of struggle your way through it. Better than nothing, at least. But yeah, that'd be cool, because we'd be able to almost go to anywhere and not struggle, if that makes sense. But anyways, this has been my solo podcast, the J Show. So the V Show should be coming out next week. I'll relay these to Viv. Like I said, I came up with like 3 of these topics on the spot. So 3 of the 4 topics I came up on the spot because we didn't have a good plan. I'll let Viv know what I talked about. Hopefully she talks about the same things. If not, whatever topic she talks about, maybe we'll discuss that in the next topic or the next week. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. Hopefully I didn't repeat shitty words too much. Hopefully I didn't swear too much. But I'm sure I did all of those things that I'm actively trying to not do. But anyways, see you guys next time.